Hi. This week I'm naming it Opening the Inner Eyes. And it can be the I from the I am eyes, or the eyes, the inner ability to see. There is such a vastness to us all, and it goes to all different places that are unseen, and to open up, to be able to open eyes to that, for that to come to the surface. And very often it doesn't come to the surface until much work has been done or much has been realized. And even though it has been realized, because of the gradual process it took to get there, to be at that capacity, because it's so normalized, you can't see it. So the week started off in seeing that in seeing, and we all see differently, when that seeing is profound and shared with others, especially if you're in a professional setting, it can be very frustrating that when you can simply see something that others cannot get to. Sometimes people who come and see me, they end up saying, "How many sessions do you think this will take?" Now, I feel that when you can open the floodgates, sometimes just getting things moving, beings themselves energetically find their way down the river to the ocean. But my reply is, it depends on how long it takes for you to make it nothing. Some people can come and see this situation and they go, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that was holding me back so much. Oh my God, I can make it, that's a nothing." But it was just sitting there to be made nothing, you know. It's like a ripe tree. Sometimes you just barely have to touch it and the ripe pear will fall into your hand. And others take more sun, more maturing, more whatever that is. And the seed itself can have a memory back to the original tree that it's carrying something from that is totally unseen, that when it's revealed, it can be worked with. So in this case, there was this frustration that the simplicity was not seen by the other, and the pain of it just continued and continued, that frustration itself needs to be made nothing, because that's not your journey, it's their journey. And the ability to make it nothing allows the trust of that journey in the other, whatever time that will take place in, or whatever that actually means in the carrying of it. One of the beings literally had, say, the seed in the pear relate back to an energy that was so clear even before the seed existed. It's that depth. And when you carry that depth, do you think people are going to hear you? And it's the ability to make it nothing, that how you carry things, how you see it, and the depth of it, even though in the world it's not reflected. That depth truly exists in beings that barely have words. And when that is appreciated in the self, when the eyes can see that, they're not as demanding in the world, nor are they as irritable or irritating to others. It's so subtle. One being that I saw had a fabulous breakthrough, and the breakthrough was actually in the last session. And she came back because this anger arrived. She said, I've got this anger has arrived. And the anger wasn't at anyone in particular. The anger was at how can I close this off? So it was like an anger, and anger is wonderful. Anger is the energy needed to be willing to action. So we ended up writing a beautiful letter that recognized the distortions and the perceptions, and in the kindness recognizing that we all have them, and to find peace with that. It was beautiful because there was really no blame. Do you know that gossiping is the worst thing we can do? You know, we read something and then we believe it to be true. We know. We are minded left, right and centre and to buy it. And, you know, it's so good to go, oh, I don't know. It says, I don't know. I haven't got both sides of the story. I don't know. There's a kindness to it. The other seeing was very, very subtle, and I believe we all have this. We all have this. I can remember when teaching Touch for Health, there was emotional stress release. It's a beautiful, simple process, yeah, of just gently holding here and waiting for pulses to arrive. You know, it's an instinct we have when we've lost something. We go, oh, where was it? And we naturally bring our hand to our forehead. And in teaching that, we set up what's called a safe place. So the person being tested would think and create a safe place, whether it was physical or made up or in a crystal or in a flower, doesn't matter. Something that felt, when I go there, no one can tell me what to do, what to think, whatever. It's so safe that you have that sovereignty in that place. And I can remember there was this woman, and it tested unlocked. She had a place, but it tested unlocked. So it's like, go back, see what you need to sort out there. And it was like, oh my gosh, the floor's got holes in it and it's rickety. So that was made solid, and then it tested as a safe place. Now, several years later, for some reason, it came up, go to your safe place. And she said, oh my God, it's got windows, there's a bookshelf there, the place is lined, there's an easel over there. Without knowing, we are continually working at something. It's a bit like when you try to think of a word or a name of something and you go, oh, it'll come to me. And you don't do anything about it and bang, it pops in. There's the name, there's the remembrance of where you placed something. There's this inner development and growth that is continually happening, but unless we go inside to look, we can't see that development. Someone who starts, and this is what happened, someone who over the decades has been turning up daily, just doing what feels normal. At the end, they are experts, whatever that is. And even though you haven't been working, underneath, it was doing that journey on an unconscious level. There are so many aspects of self that are riding along and developing themselves. We have so many voices inside. And they got to see the amazing development that had happened and the ability to stand in that and get clearer about how to interact with the world from that developed state, rather than realizing I'm always at the beginning. We are always at the beginning. But in that movement, the experience gives so much and so much clarity when you can stand in what that is. And it's important to do so. On the other hand, there was someone who came in whose natural ability, because of the time factor, that in this particular family, she had the ability to be present, to do, to take action, to be there, because the others were busy. But what happens is, are they really busy, or is it just inconvenient? And yes, it's not easy, but that convenience, when somebody else is saying, I can, just because you can does not mean you have to. But in that gradual process of continually being the one that shows up, that does, that is present, that takes care of it, to the point where it consumes your life. Work, care for, sleep. And it's not shared by others. So there's a process of, just because you can doesn't mean you have to. It's important to be able to see that we are living in community with others, and these things need to be shared. It's so often this taking care of is left to the sibling that has no children, or the sibling who works hours that makes it more convenient for them to do it all. But it's not shared. The family thing is very interesting because, you know, the family can normalize these things. We normalize these things. We get on with our own lives. And the last group that came was, in fact, a family. And doing the session, they were all in the room and doing the session in the sequence that it tested up as. It was really interesting how one family member can carry the complexity of another. And by carrying the complexity of the other then keeps being enabled to live that process because it doesn't particularly see that the others are carrying it. So much of this is invisible. So seeing it, and each seeing where the other is very helpful. So the cards that came up this week were vulnerability, stillness, and then surrender dropped out. Because when you see it, you do need to surrender to what is seen and not fight it. And then move from that new knowledge and the truth of the being showing itself, to surrender to that, to be honest with it, to not enable or see oneself in the proper light of all of that which has been developed. So I'm going to read stillness first, because vulnerability, although it came first, because it is vulnerable to look at the inner eye, but it does require stillness, so I'll read stillness first. Take time to be still, to appreciate the beauty in every moment. Quiet your busy mind and allow the still softness of peace to envelop you. Do not rush into anything, but sit meditatively, and in this stillness, your answer may be found. To attain what has eluded you, be still and allow it to land upon you, as a feather would gently float onto your hand, so do your wishes descend upon you. It arrives, and it takes a surrender then to speak it and to be vulnerable. Vulnerability. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. I do not fear it. To truly feel your aliveness, be aware of yourself, and yet allow your heart to be open. Be vulnerable to the joys in life. Let them in. Do not need to feel vulnerability before you will allow support. Do not judge your feelings. Surrender. Much heart to you all, much inner seeing, and the magnificence and what has grown within you. Do not underestimate it. Be clear with it, be true with it, and love yourself with it.